The Black American Dilemma: Rescue Ambazonia from Ruthless Killers. When Europeans first colonized North American continent, the land was vast, the work was harsh, and there was a severe shortage of labor. In 1619, the first ship of black men and women arrived in America. So, beginning early in the 17th century, my ancestors were being stolen, kidnapped from Africa, ripped from their families, and enslaved by ruthless slave traders and so called slave masters.
When we talk about roots within the family, we envision a progenitor, an ancestor from whom a person is descended. As a noun, root is a condition of belonging to a specific place or group by virtue of ethnic and cultural lineages. When we talk about African diaspora, we are referring to all black people scattered around the globe in various communities, most of them in the Americas, especially the United States of America. We share the same DNA, the same stories, the same challenges and anxieties. And so, when we see conditions of mass killings and unwarranted violence, it does not sit well with us. We cannot underestimate the power of our connections. Our history as black people is intricately linked. We have been subjected to violence and mass killings and dehumanization due to systemic racism and black on black violence. In the 15th century, a forced migration occurred through transatlantic slave trade that lasted for 400 plus years. During that time, mass killings occurred. Yet, we survived as a people. Colonization and neocolonialism saw mass killings of our people and many others around the world. In fact, before the killings in Ukraine, there were killings in Nigeria, Democratic Republic of Congo, genocide in Rwanda, and now mass killings and genocide in Ambazonia, Southern Cameroons. Thanks to DNA testing, many of you African American celebrities, actors, and entertainers have traced your roots to Ambazonia and West Africa. You can and should use your celebrity status for the common and greater good. As children of God, we have to build a spiritual army comprised of good people who care for humanity, people who will support us to end mass killings and genocides around the world. Please join in the movement to end this unwarranted violence and mass killings. Sign the petition and stop the mass killings in Ambazonia and the world over. Stop the killings so that our brothers and sisters can come home.
The messages to our country's president, vice president, governors, and senators are not about the horrors of slavery in America. It is about the blatant disrespect that is yet swept under the dirty rugs of democracy as people of color yet struggle under the disguised, deceptive practice of systemic racism. We are sending you this electronic packet to offer you an opportunity to do something decent for people of color throughout America and throughout our motherland, Africa.
A 21st century genocide in the former British Southern Cameroons. This is the story of Ambazonia. It is a story we must take to the White House until the genocide ends. You see, for the past 5 years, we have protested in front of the White House. We have written letters to the White House, yet the genocide continues in the former British Southern Cameroons, Ambazonia. The silence has been deafening. This year, in 2022, we the people are journeying to the White House, fortified with the many voices of celebrities. Yes, this enhanced power of the people will produce the roar necessary to bring the genocide to an end, because our whispers for the past years were too faint and never heard. We the people are going to the White House armored with dignity and respect, because the White House symbolizes the presidency, the government, and the American people. They have to hear our story. And our story, in a nutshell, is this. The former British Southern Cameroons was incompletely decolonized in 1961 when the United Nations granted African nations the permission to achieve independence from their colonial masters. Instead, on October 1st, 1961, the former British Southern Cameroons was recolonized by France through its proxy, La République du Cameroun, who remains a colony of France till today. After decades of marginalization and a failed assimilation, culminating with the protests by teachers and lawyers in 2016, the president of La République du Cameroun waged war on the people of the former British Southern Cameroons. 5 years later, a Rwandan-like genocide remains in Southern Cameroons, and over 45,000 people have been killed, over 400 villages burned through their scorched earth policy, over 5,000 prisoners of war, over 1.5 million internally displaced, over 1 million refugees, and over 800,000 school-aged students not going to school. The international community has been blind to what is going on. The promise of never again has been broken. However, there has been tremendous support for Ukraine, who was just recently invaded by Russia about 6 months ago. Just maybe Black lives do not matter after all. My sisters and I are mothers, women, grandmothers, calling for an end to mass killing. President Biden, who is a leader of the free world and is in the White House at this moment, is in the position to help end the genocide. The White House represents the true principles of democracy, freedom, and self-determination. And that is simply why the Southern Cameroons are taking this problem to the White House. Thank you so much.
I am speaking to you about people who are being sadistically murdered under the guise of war. Women and children are being slaughtered in sadistic ways, many times forcing the father to watch as his family is being horrifically murdered, and then he is murdered, or even worse, he is forced to survive this horror. This kind of brutality is going on right here in our world, a few clicks away, while our United Nations is pretending they don't see, when it's clear that they do indeed see.
Fellow citizens of the world, I am appealing to every peace-loving and justice-seeking individual to join this movement that seeks true peace, tranquility, and prosperity for everyone on the planet. We are calling on every colored person or person of color to be part of this change. Every human being has a color. None of us is colorless. I would appeal that our eyes remain colorblind to the human race, while our hearts are open to justice for all. Let us all join the movement that seeks to mitigate mass killings and genocide while offering equal opportunity to every child born on the planet the chance to fulfill their God-given destiny. For men and women of color, the statistics of mass killings in our U.S. communities are alarming. The violence of black on black is higher than white or police on blacks. Our guns turned at each order are cutting our destinies short and bringing untold misery to our families and friends. On our African continent, the story is no different. It may be influenced by tribal lines, but the greatest genocide is organized under the guise of civil war and unrest. However, it is masterminded by selfish colonial masters of the West and China in the East. Today, Southern Cameroons is a sovereign nation that has been experiencing genocide for over 5 years, carried out by the Republic of Cameroon. If you take a closer look, it is France supporting and sustaining these wicked acts because of the natural resources of Southern Cameroons, also known as Ambazonia. If we cannot fight at this time for all color people scattered all over the globe, how then are we expecting others to truly come to our aid? Let us together raise our voices in a loud roar that demands peace and tranquility for all. Let us seek the change that will let every human being lead a peaceful life, no matter where on the globe they live, the color of their skin, their tribe of origin, or their religious beliefs. A world where justice reigns for all and perpetrators of mass killings and genocides are brought to the books and not celebrated or covered by the international community, turning a blind eye to their crimes of murder. Please be an advocate for this global movement by joining and supporting the movement of change for peace and justice.
Though I come from a line of enslaved people, I am not enslaved. I am a free woman who is a natural citizen of the most powerful country in this world, and that makes my voice powerful. I realize as an entrepreneur that the power of my lone voice can be amplified by bringing together 1 billion voices of free or not so free people throughout the world. Hence, the movement.
Have you ever been in a place where 2-month-old babies are shot with live bullets or fried in hot boiling oil? Where the military kills indiscriminately? Can you imagine a place where drinkable water needs kilometer walk, or 3 square meals is an illusion, or tools for children, toys for children is a luxury? Healthcare is far-fetched, humanity reduced to underdog and frustration? This movement, Fanaticism Revealed, sets to rescue the oppressed from tyrannic and dictatorial murderous governments, to resound the already wailing echoes of the people of the former British Southern Cameroons, aka Ambazonia. This movement sets out to unite voices that will provoke governments to send fact-finding missions to discover the root causes to the Ambazonian story. Strong, opinioned governments like America, Germany, Canada, Japan, Great Britain, Scandinavian countries, and many more are called upon. Our goal is to grow in number, using our voices to reach the White House, the United Nations, the EU, the AU, and other presidencies of the world, that they enact laws that will stop mass shooting and killings in America, as well as genocidal wars in other parts of the world, using Ukraine and Ambazonia as our case study at this point in time. Our mission equates to reminding the world that we are in a new millennium, the 21st century, whereby human slaughtering, impoverishment under the guise of war should not continue under our watch. Tyrannic and dictatorial, lack of rule of law, and non-respect of human rights governments have no place in this era. This movement set out to provoke people to stand up, defend, and protect humanity. The 10 core members in this movement uphold the concept of united voices, whereby education will be served to the underdeserved with quality and competitive curriculum. There will be safety at school, in school, on the way and back from school. Healthcare is highly considered for all.
We have just spent a few days testing the waters with our End the Mass Killings petition. We have an exponential plan that will bring hundreds of millions of signatures as caring people join us in raising our voices to scream as one voice, end mass killings.
The desire to make the world one human family, living collaboratively in love and peace with each other and the environment, is the will of God for mankind, as well as the desire of the people, especially the oppressed, for the world. The steady rise of humanitarian crises like wars, genocide, mass killings, human trafficking all over the world calls for a global humanitarian response to save lives and the world from destruction by the forces of evil. Amnesty International stated in their report to the United Nations that 154 countries in the world have some form of humanitarian crisis. They also stated that, and I quote, "The time is now to close the inequality gap within and among countries. If we work in solidarity as one human family, we can make the year 2022 a true year of recovery for peoples and economies alike." End of quote. The United Nations Department of Economy and Social Affairs, which is a think tank of the United Nations, in their report concluded that the rising problems in the world is not because they don't have solutions, but it is because those who are in power lack the will. That is why the Storm Broadcasting Network, a humanitarian movement, is trying to bring the much needed change in the world to save lives and the world through the most safest and non-invasive way, petitioning. But we cannot do this alone. That is why we are coming to you A global solution needs a global action. We are not asking for money. We are not planning to do demonstrations in front of government buildings. We just need your signature because we believe that there is power in the people. We believe the people's power. When the people speak, the politicians, they listen. 1 million signatures is 1 million voices. When they speak to the UN, they will listen. We are inviting all the leaders, religious leaders, entrepreneurs, celebrities, students, singers, people of goodwill that wants to see an end to bloodshed and crimes in the world. Please go to change.org and look for the petition that says stop mass killing, end mass killing, and sign it. Add your voice, add your name. When we have, our goal is to have at least 1 million signatures. If we have 1 million signatures and we take it to the United Nations and tell them that we want an end to mass killing, an end to genocide, an end to any crisis that any nation in the world, wherever, has, they will listen. The most neglected of all the humanitarian crises is the genocide that is going on in Southern Cameroons, aka Ambazonia. For the past 6 years, it has been massacres, burning of schools, killing indiscriminately, 45,000 killed, children out of school for 6 years, homes, villages burned, yet not one fact-finding mission.
Hello. It is time you join the movement, Storm Broadcasting Network. It is time you take 1 second to sign the petition and mass killings. Why is it so important? Why are we doing this ourselves? Where are our leaders? Where are the black clergy and where are the black leaders in our communities? Why is it so important that you join us? Yes, because you have the masses in your churches. Yes, you can take this message to your pulpits. Just like you have cried for prayers for Ukraine, just like you are asking for people to join and help Ukraine, it is time you put some of that energy into your own people, into your own communities. Every day we wake up yet to another black boy being murdered. Across the United States, we see yet another police brutality, yet another school shooting. When is it going to stop? We cannot be quiet anymore. We cannot stay quiet anymore unless we speak up, unless we go together, unless we join hands, and unless we have you, our black clergies and our black leaders, to join the movement, to please help every member of your congregation go to change.org. It takes just a second to sign the petition. Stop mass killings. Stop genocide. You know why it's so important? Because the world is turning a blind eye on our people. When it comes to the black child being murdered, when it comes to school shootings in our community, people pretend like nothing is happening. Why are you letting us down by not adding your voices to us, to the masses? Please, we need you more than ever. We need 1 million signatures that will represent your voices to say, yes, you stand in solidarity to end mass killings, to end genocide in Ambazonia, Southern Cameroons, where you have over 40,000 lives wasted, where you have over 600 villages burnt down, where you have babies being fried like beignets, and where you have over 80,000 refugees scattered all over, and you have women having babies in the bushes and no medication, where you will never see CNN reporting like they are reporting what is happening in Ukraine, where you will never see the United Nations send a fact-finding mission like they are doing in Ukraine. Black leaders, we are begging you to join the movement now. Yes, we need you to join the movement, Storm Broadcasting Network. Please, it costs nothing but your people, all of us together, telling your congregation to go on change.org and sign the petition. Stop mass killings. Stop genocide. So together, 1 million of us can march to the White House with our petitions, with our voices in the click of our pens. Together, we can go to the United Nations to say enough is enough and this must be stopped. Together, like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and Marcus Garvey and all of the Black leaders did in the past. Together, like Desmond Tutu and Nelson Mandela did in South Africa to free apartheid. Help us end mass killings. Help us end genocide by joining the movement, Storm Broadcasting Network, and signing the petitions on change.org. End mass killings. Thank you.
The question is, can politicians and celebrities do something to end mass killings? The answer is yes. Politicians can create policies that aim to stop killings of all types. This includes killings related to war, like the one happening in Southern Cameroons now for 5 years. Killings related to non-conflict situations, like the ones happening in church shootings and schools in America. There are also self-inflicted killings, killing by family members, and killings by a stranger. So politicians can do something about all the killings. Celebrities are famous people with a wide audience. They can use their social media platform to influence social issues in society through the population. Celebrities, like entertainers and athletes, can get the public to pay attention to a global trouble spot. For example, the neglected genocide that is happening in the Southern Cameroons now for 5 years with thousands killed. Many celebrities do philanthropic work to help society. Through the tap of a screen, they can go beyond monetary interest to do work that can change society. They can shine light on issues that benefit society. But first, they need to educate themselves on the global issues. For example, they can go to the Human Rights Watch website, which is hrw.org, to learn about issues like the war in Southern Cameroons. They can then urge the general public to take action by getting involved. This is a movement, a call to action for 1 million signatures on the petition called End Mass Killings on change.org. This petition is meant to stop all kinds of mass killings, like the most recent one in the United States in Uvalde, Texas, May 2022. These mass killings in Ukraine, the genocide in Southern Cameroons. I will end here with this quote by Edmund Burke. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. End of quote. Thank you. for listening.
Picture this: a woman walking down the street with her baby, and she's nursing the baby as she walks, and the baby is snatched from her breast and tossed in burning oil. And then she's taken into the brush, raped, and set on fire. No, this is not the scene of the latest horror movie. It is actual horrific acts of terror, war, genocide, mass killings in Ambazonia. Meanwhile, an older couple's home is set on fire while they're preparing their morning meal. Does it move you to tears or concern, like the pictures of starving children that we see on television, or older adults with no food shown on television? It should. If it's as widespread as these commercials, it is more of a life and death situation and needs to be shown by major news outlets. It needs to be unveiled. It needs to be known so that it can be stopped. Rwanda moved most to say never again. Yet, this is happening and being propagated under the guise of war. As you facilitate us, the movement, in our goal to reach billions to stop mass killings, genocide, murder of Black people in Ambazonia and around the world. This will make an impact on lives everywhere, and you can then be certainly celebrated as having made an impact to make change, to cause wars, mass killings, genocide, to stop, because your voice will speak volumes. Your voice will reach millions and billions to encourage them and to allow them to see the things that are happening in Ambazonia and other nations, countries, even in the United States, to come aware of these things so that it can be stopped. You, who we celebrate, you, who we make famous, you can be made famous for the impact that you will have when you share with us, when you speak out with your voice and let it be known that these kind of horrible acts of atrocities must stop.
We are 10 female entrepreneurs who are spearheading this movement to gather the masses and to create partnerships with a large number of corporate and celebrity partners who will help build this virtual ark to bring solutions to murder, genocide, and other brutality. We are starting our fight in the neglected Ambazonia. We are in urgent need of your voices as governors and senators to help us encourage you, Mr. President, to meet with the interim president of Ambazonia and his cabinet to find the truth behind all of this deception of war that is actually blatant, arrogant murderers finding some kind of sick satisfaction in brutalizing human beings.
This week, we lost the longest ruling monarch, Queen Elizabeth. She is being revered for her personal achievements for Great Britain. In Africa, she is being remembered for some very dark period of Britain's relationship with colonial rule and her failure or inability to right those wrongs. Mr. President, what legacy do you want to leave for Ambazonia? The war started before your watch, but continues under your watch. Do you want to be remembered for the killings of babies,
the old and handicapped, and over 40,000 Ambazonians by La République du Cameroun, or you want to be remembered as the one who could and did bring peace to the Ambas Bay region. President Biden, you can do it. Do the right thing. Right this great wrong and injustice. Give the Ambazonians peace and justice they deserve. You can do it. Stop the genocide. Stop the killing of babies. You can do it.
Help us get President Dr. Sacco of Ambazonia to the White House and to the sessions of the UN Assembly that are scheduled to begin on September 9th, 2022. Just as my great-great-grandparents had the human right to dignity and the pursuit of happiness that was ripped from us, the same injustices is happening just across the land in the Southern Cameroons, specifically in the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. We need you to get us heard so that you will be a blessing to traumatized people who are being, as I speak, catastrophically murdered. When you show concern for these innocent people of color, you show us as Black Americans that you want to do something to make up for our long suffering, and we will find comfort in that.